Hello and welcome back. Right, the situation is that I have worked extremely hard to make a video for you, poured my life and soul into a project about JFK's assassination and the 60th anniversary of that tragic event landing today on the 22nd of November 2023. Now, after spending almost a week making this video, it's come to my attention, of course, that it's not going to last 5 minutes on YouTube because it contains so much truth and contentious evidence. Although it's well-sourced and verifiable, accurate evidence, of course, that's often not accepted on YouTube. So I did consider doing a ruthless video edit and just stripping out everything that could possibly upset people at YouTube and beyond. However, I decided that after doing that, the video would be honestly like a car without wheels. It honestly would not be worth driving or even watching. So what I'm going to do is just recommend, I'm just going to put a link to the video, which is up on Rumble and BitChute now. I'm just going to put a link into the description here on this video and hopefully attach maybe just a couple of snippets from the video, just teasers and trailers, and hope that's enough to entice you to go over, click the link and have a watch of the whole movie in full.
As the JFK assassination gives us an interesting insight into how they were doctoring film footage in the 60s to make it look like something else had happened contrary to what actually had happened. I think it's a good idea we have a look at this film, Everything is a Rich Man's Trick, to see how this process works, because we see that they were literally doctoring film footage to make it look like the presidential limousine was literally still moving as the president was shot, when in fact the opposite was true. It was brought to a standstill to enable this guy to take a pot shot from a drain, like so, literally from the road to curbside at the president. So yeah, let's have a quick look at how that worked and how they doctored the film and how they managed to fool the public into thinking that somebody else had shot the president from a completely different direction. So we're starting to see a lot of similarities between what happened here on September the 11th, 2001 and all the suspicious theatrical false flag features, and what happened here on October the 7th, 2023, only a few weeks ago, when the SUPERNOVA festival here in Israel was attacked with the full force of a military invasion, while innocent, unarmed, defenceless partygoers were literally forced to flee the site while they were completely surrounded and being mown down like sheep. Now I think this would be a good time to have a look at this question: does jet fuel melt steel? And I've found article here from the fire safety support people who seem to have a good knowledge in fire safety issues, and they tell us that jet fuel burns at a temperature of around 800 to 2500 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, what is 2500 degrees Fahrenheit in centigrade, you may well ask. Luckily we have a clear answer here, that the maximum temperature jet fuel burns at is 1371 degrees Celsius. Now, how does that compare to the melting point of steel, which is another $1,000,000 question? And we have another clear answer here. It's from the World Material people, that melting point of steel at 1300 to 1540 degrees Celsius. So we do have an indication that if jet fuel is allowed to reach its maximum temperature, it could start to melt steel. But to be fair, we're only touching on the bottom end of the bracket. This is the cold end of the bracket, so you would not see any fluid or instant melting of steel at that temperature. you'd start to see signs that it's melting, but no signs of fluid, actual fast, rapid melting of steel. So we do have an indication here, of course, that there's a wide bracket. Jet fuel burns at a temperature of around 800 to 2500 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's have a look at what the bottom end of this bracket is. 800 degrees Fahrenheit. And we find that it's only 426 degrees C. So what we now know is that jet fuel burns between a temperature of 426 degrees C and 1300 degrees C. So anywhere between that bracket of 400 and 1300 is your likely temperature, which is going to be around 1000 degrees C. I'd say in a sort of average example that we're looking at here. So what are the chances of this fuel reaching maximum temperature, let's say at the site where the plane entered the building? I think it's quite low. I think the chances of it even reaching 1300 are extremely low, quite simply because it did not have the time to do that. You would, I assume, need a long period of time to reach that temperature. It's not something that would happen just all of a sudden in one explosion. And of course that temperature would only relate to that specific vicinity where the plane entered the building. It would not obviously relate to the whole length and breadth of the building at all. It's only specifically to that location where the plane entered the building. So even where the plane entered the building, we know that it's very unlikely to have reached this temperature, the top temperature. And even if it did, there would have only been very small signs of any indication of steel melting. And of course, it's more likely to have been burning at less of this temperature, around sort of 1000 degrees C. So that tells us very clearly from this information that there is really absolutely no chance whatsoever that the plane entering the building managed to melt steel beams that travelled from the base to the top of the building, the entire length of the building, which were melted apparently in the space of just a few minutes. Absolutely no possibility that that happened at all. And we have all the evidence here in front of us. You seem to be walking into some kind of religious war as instigated by the state. Now, the battle lines seem to be being drawn here along a specific agenda, which is, at least as far as I can see, those that are fooled by an illusion and those that are not. Those that are fooled by staged false flag terrorist attacks and those who are not. Now, it does seem to be that we have this set of people here, the alternative psychedelic people, who appear to have a greater ability to think critically and question suspicious narratives, as opposed to this type of people, the more orthodox, conventional type of public, who do not have such an inquisitive mind and ability to think critically and question everything that they're told. Now, this has created a divide and what can only be described as a state of mass hypnosis that not just America, that the whole world is under. And what's interesting to note about this is there's a lot of people making money from this state of mass hypnosis and keeping us in a perpetual state of hypnosis, just like a dream world. And for as long as they're making money out of it, then we can understand why they may instruct and entice, coerce people to go after anyone who challenges their illusions or challenges the fake narratives that they're spewing out in order to maintain those illusions. So it does become easier to understand why these conventional people would start organising attacks upon people like this, quite simply to stop them thinking critically or stop them sharing information that can break the illusion, break the spell of this mass hypnosis that they're creating. and of course that then helps them make more money in terms of, well, keeping people in the dark and keeping them under the spell and keeping them believing this fake, deceitful narrative that they're being fed.